here from Dan and welcome to another Sunday video. This week I'm doing a card that was actually requested by somebody on my Facebook group. They called it a gatefold peekaboo card, but when I looked around, a gatefold peekaboo card and a shutter card are exactly the same thing. So I'm calling this a gatefold peekaboo card slash shutter card. So this is a lovely band that I've got on here. These are all products that I've now finished, and when you open it, it opens up like a shutter on the inside. So this is the card we're going to be making, but I'm going to be making it with all, oops, let's get that back on, new products. So on the back you've got your writing panel, because there's nowhere to really write on the inside. So, and I've done a little bit of the work, but we have to do some of it together. So I'm going to pop this on one side for a moment. Let me move those because I'm going to need them. Let me have to put them over there and show you what we're going to be using. So I'm using this set here. Whoops. I'm going to be using the Happy Hibiscus. Just for thanks for being so kind, you make me smile. So I'm only going to use those two sayings. I've actually going to be using Gallery Blooms, and I'm using this stamp here. Now I've actually cut that out and coloured it already, so there's my thing already, so I won't need that. But this is the stamp set. So you get these beautiful stamps here, and if you buy it as a bundle or a suite, you get it with these beautiful dies. Stay over there. And you also get these dies too, which is like a frame, which is fantastic. Look at that. It looks like a frame, and it looks like they pull apart, but they don't. There's two different frames on there together, so you can make a really lovely frame for a picture. And it comes with, in the suite, or you can buy separately as you can afford, because I know that some people are on a very tight budget, these beautiful papers, which are called Beautiful Gallery. So these have all the new colours in them, which this has in it: basic beige, basic black, basic grey, Calypso Coral, Cloud Cover, which is one of the new colours, but at the present time there is no ink pad for that. They're having a bit of problems with it. Crumb Cake, Early Espresso, Grey Granite, Lost Lagoon, Mossy Meadow, Peach Pie, Pecan Pie, Secret Sea, and Smoky Slate. So this colour here, this is Secret Sea, and this colour here is actually the Cloud Cover, this colour. It's really lovely, and we're using those two colours, and these have really lovely, what I call old-fashioned looking photos. Let me turn this the other way around so that everything's up the right way. So we've got like pretty pictures like this, and then on the back it's just plain. Let's go to the next one. That's a lovely one like that, and then it's got like an aerial view of a town or something on it. And then we've got like boats there with this beautiful, like, I don't know what you would call that. It's not wood, but, and then you've got that one there and another one that's similar to that there. You've then got this one, which is like another scenery, and I call that wallpaper, but it's whatever you want it to be. Then you've got this one, another scenery one, and then on the back you've got like a sketch. Then this one's got the sketch on the front and another wallpapery looking one on the back. Then we've got this one that looks like just flowers, and it's got words down the bottom, and then that has that look again on the back, that funny, like it's been, I don't know what you call that. And then you've got this one here, which is quite pretty, with a nice grey on the back. Then this one here with these flowers on the back. And then you've got that one there, which looks like these all look like a Monet kind of pictures to me. And there's another wallpaper one on the back. And the one that we're going to be using, which is this one here, and that's got a lovely pale picture on the other side. So let's see if I can get them all back in there. If not, they'll have to go on the side until later, and I'll pop them back in. Let's see. Oh, look at that. They're going, are they going? Yep. So that's the paper that goes with it, and I think they're absolutely gorgeous papers. So this is what we're going to need for our card. Now, I've done a little bit of the work, but some of it we can't do, so I'm actually going to be doing a little bit of time. And I'm also going to be using these, which are the In Colour flat pearls. So we have, what's that one called? I can't remember. Secret Sea. That's that colour, which is sort of like a bluey grey black. I don't know how else to explain it. Then this colour, which is called Cloud Cover. This one's called Timid Tiger. This one's called Darling Duckling. And then we have Strawberry Slush, I think it's called. So that's the colours we're going to be using. So as I say, I've done part of the work. So let me tell you what we need. For our main card, we're going to need a piece that measures 5 7/8 by 8 1/4. Let me bring that down so I can read it. Then we're going to need 4 panels, the same size. And I've already put the things on, 3 of them. And they measure, 4 panels measure 5 5/8 by 1 7/8, and 4 pieces of designer series paper that measures 5 3/8 by 1 5/8. Then you're going to need, for the middle of your card, another piece that it measures 5 7/8, which is the same length as the main card, and that's 2 3/4 inches wide. And then another piece of DSP that is 5 5/8 by 2 1/2 inches, which is going to go on top of that. Okay. Then we need our frame piece. Now that piece that I've got for frame, wherever I've put that, is not from Stamping Up. It's just a piece I had, but I thought it went really well with this. So I'm doing it in a glitter, and this measures 3 inches by 3 inches. Then we're going to need a shutter message panel, which is 2 3/4 inches by 2 3/4 inches. Then we need 2 shutters. Now I've actually done my drawing on there, but we will go through that together. And they measure 3 3/4 in long and 3 1/4 high. Then we have our writing panel for the back of the card, which is 5 5/8 by 3 7/8, and our white piece measuring 5 3/8 by 3 5/8. So then I've actually cut this out, and I cut that out using the Heartfelt Hexagon, and I've coloured and cut out my flower. Now I coloured my flower in dark smoky slate, and then I coloured the flowers in light and dark, dark grey granite, and then I've coloured my flowers in dark and light smoky slate. So I've already done that there. Now I forgot to bring a block over for doing my stamping with, so I'm just going to pop them there for a second and go and get a block. Which I've just got now, so that didn't take me a second. So we're going to start by actually scoring our main card. Now I'm going to use my trimmer for scoring in this case, because I want to score this at a funny place. Now I want my score tool. I prefer to use the score tool over this score tool over this scorer, but that's just me. So let me turn this over, and we need to score this piece at 2 1/16. So that's 2 and the first little mark past the 2, the short one. Now if you close that over, using the small ball, it will fit in there beautifully. You can actually score nicely. Then I'm going to turn it around 180 degrees and I'm going to pop that in there at 2 1/16 again. And I'm going to score it once more. So that's that piece scored. So let's pop the scorer out of the way, and we're going to bring in our card and we're going to actually fold and burnish these score lines, and they should come together really, really nicely, because that's why we did the 2 1/16. See, they come together absolutely gorgeous. So we can do that. So then we're going to bring in our 4 panels. Let me find the 4. So I've done 3. So we've got our 4 panels. These are the ones that measure, I'm losing my pieces here, 5 5/8 by 1 7/8, and the DSP is the 5 3/8 by 1 5/8. So we're going to glue all of those together. So we've done 3, so we're going to do this one together. Then we're going to glue 2 onto the front. Now it's up to you. I'm looking at these and I'm thinking which 2 go together nicely. I think I'm going to put those 2 on the front. So this colour here is called Cloud Cover, and this one is called Secret Sea. And it might seem like a very dark colour card, but I just thought it was really different. Oops, my paper's sliding around today. Why is that sliding around today? So if you've got a, like me, you've got a design that is actually directional, make sure you cut that correct. Okay, so we've done the 2 on the outside. We're going to open it up and we're going to put the other 2 on the inside here. Come back, you. And once again, if you've got a directional paper, make sure that it's going the correct way. Okie dokie, so that's our fronts and our inside done. And I'm now going to actually do the back of my card before I do the rest, because I think that it's easier to put it on while it's still not got a lot of bulk in the middle here. So we're going to bring in our writing panels and we're going to stamp our writing panel here with our message, which I'm going to get my stamps. And what did I do with the ink? There we go, there's the ink. So I'm going to make a smile. Let's pop one of these on there, and you make me smile on that one. Let me pop that over there. So that one can go there. That's going on the inside. So we're going to use, I'm going to use the Secret Sea. It's a very dark colour, but it's really different to black. But I think it's quite nice. I wasn't keen at first, but I'm actually warming up to it. I really am. It's very crisp and clear, and I love that way it's crisp and clear. So let's pop them out of the way for now, and we glue those together. and we're going to pop that onto the back of our card. So I'm making sure that we've got it up the correct way. We're going to then glue that to the back of the card. Okie dokie. So we've got our front of our card done, our back of our card done, and our two sides. So we're going to pop that out of the way for a moment. And we're now going to bring in our centerpiece and our frame piece of card. So what we're going to do, this is the piece that measures 5 7/8, which is the same length as the rest of the card, by 2 3/4, and 5 5/8 by 2 1/2, and we're going to glue those two pieces together. Now the only thing I'm going to use that is really retired are my layering circles. Now you could do this with squares, any shape you like, but I'm doing it with the circles. So let me move that one too. You're going to need, if you're using the Stampin' Up layering circles, you're going to need the 5th size of the plain ones and the 6th size of the scalloped ones, which are, let me pop them away, 2 1/4 inches and 2 1/2 inches. So you're going to need both of those and this. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our little machine here, which I think I've got all the bits I need. Yep. Alright, so we're going to pop our piece of frame piece on there, and we're going to pop our scallop, and then we're going to put the circle inside the scallop. So we're going to put the plain circle. Now if you don't have two like that, you can use 2 plain ones. That's not a problem. If you wanted to do it, as I say, a different shape, that's okay as well. So we're going to actually pop this through like so. We can pop out the middle, which we don't need, but that's great for another project. And then we're going to pop off this bit, which is, if you wanted to use that you could, but I'm going to chuck my piece, and then this is what you're left with, which is our frame. How pretty does that look as a frame? That's going to look gorgeous on there. Okay, so now we're going to bring in, we're going to discard this one, the scallop one. We don't want that one anymore. We just want the 2 1/4 inch one. And we're going to pop in our piece here, and we're going to pop our circle so that it's in the middle. It's in the middle this way, and as whether you want it up closer to the top or close to the middle is entirely up to you. I'm going to put mine roughly in the middle, so I'm going to pop that in there like so, and then I'm going to run this through the machine. Now you need to have these two pieces of the card and the DSP glued together before you do this, because otherwise you're going to find that you will not have them lined up properly. So I've popped that through 3 times. That should be enough. Let's pop that out of the way. Yep, see, that's come out gorgeous. Well, just about. There we go. So let's pop them out of the way too. We can take off our circle. This piece is a nice piece to use for something else as well. You could use that for the front of your card if you wanted to. And we'll have a look at that. We might do that even. So now we're going to bring in our frame, and we're actually going to glue that over the center like so. So let's bring in our glue and glue that piece down. cannot believe how cool it is today. After last week it was so warm. This week it's cool out there. My husband's indoors with the head cold and the heater on. That's how much difference it is from last week. Okay, so we've got our frame on. As I say, you could put a plain frame on there if you wanted to. And we're now going to pop this on one side out of the way. And we're going to bring in our 2 shutter pieces. Okay, let me pop the pin in my glue because I still don't like to leave it without that. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my scoreboard. And I'm going to score both of these on the long side, which is the 3 3/4 size, at the 1/2 inch mark. Making sure you're using the small ball as such. Okay, so we've done that. Now we're going to bring in our pencil and we're going to pop this down. I'm going to do it on here because it's easier. And I'm going to mark it at 1 5/8 of an inch. From the bottom. There's the score line, so that's at the top. So at the other end we're going to mark that at 1 5/8 of an inch on both of them. And then we're going to bring in our ruler, and from that 1 5/8 of an inch mark we're going to mark up 1 7/8 of an inch. So there's my 1 7/8 mark. And I'm going to draw a line along that line there, along there. It's not easy to see on that. You can see it better when I've got it there. And you're going to do that on both pieces. So I've got both pieces done there. And then from there, you're going to go from that top mark down to this corner and down to this corner on both of them. As you can see, those are in that, oops, yep, get them in the right light. Get it in the right light, there we go. You can actually see that that's 1 5/8, 1 7/8, and then from there down to each corner. If I turn it around this way, no, you can't see it as well that way. This way is better. So you've done that. So once we've done that, we're going to pop that out of the way and we're going to bring in our scissors and we're going to cut this triangle away now. So I'm going to cut right up there. Like so. Oops. It's really not a good colour to see for doing that with. So we've got that one like that, and then we're going to do the same with the other one. Now if you're using a light colour, you can actually cut, use your eraser to erase any marks, but I'm just going to turn them over so you can't actually see those marks at all. So I'm going to then fold and burnish this score line here both ways on both of them. Only because it makes it a little bit easier for it to move. Okay, now I think I forgot to bring over, yep, my double-sided tape. Clever me. Okay, double-sided tape. So with the front, with whichever way up you're having this, facing up, you're going to put your double-sided tape on both of these little tab ends, this 1/2 inch score line. You could do this with glue, but I found the easiest way is to do it with double-sided tape. Whoops, get over there, that's better. Okie dokie, so we've got our double-sided tape on there. And we've got our 2 pieces here, and we're going to bring in our main card now, and we're going to pop them on one side for a few minutes because we've got a few other little things to do. So we're going to pop them on the one side, and we're going to open our card, and we're going to put this piece in the middle so that it's even on both sides. Once you're happy with that, we're then going to draw a circle around the inside. Now that I've done for my benefit so that I know where I'm going to pop this. So I'm going to know that they're going to pop that piece there. So now I'm going to draw a line at the top and a line at the bottom with a little mark like that. So I know where to line that up. Alright, so now I'm going to actually stamp this piece with my other message, which is here. Thanks for being so kind. And if I'm happy with that, I'm going to then pop that back in there like that. And I'm going to say, yep, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to then turn that over and glue that into position. The circle is not going to show, and nor are the other marks. So I'm going to line those marks up, top and bottom, just so that I know that it's in the right position. Once I'm happy with that, I can actually remove these marks just in case they show. Alright, so once we're happy with that, we're then going to pop these in here, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to put them in like this. So we're going to put one on the top and one underneath. One on top, one underneath, and we're going to bring them together and see how far they're going to come in together. Now, if like me, you'll find that these are a tiny bit too long, you're going to then trim off about 1/4 inch, if you're lucky, off the bottom. Now you're doing that because you want these to actually, and that's not going to show. Come on, trim. Why don't you want to trim? That part of my scissors didn't want to work. So we're going to pop them in again. So the best way is to turn one sideways, bring them together, then turn them back. And bring those into the middle. And that doesn't matter that they're not going like this in the very, very middle, because what we're going to do is we're going to bring that out to the score line, like so. And then we can see if that's still over the top of those, over the top of the thing, we can then chop that off a bit more. That one's fine. Okay, so we're going to bring them in like so, and then I'm actually going to, making sure that that's in the middle, I'm opening it up like this so I can see that it's, yep, the words are right in the right place. I'm then going to peel the tape off of one side and close the card across. And then I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. I'm going to peel the tape off of this side. Come on. Making sure it's still up against that line. Come on. There we go. That one's still a little bit long, so I'm just going to trim that one a tiny bit more so it's not over the glued part of that, and I'm going to put that one over like so. Okay. Let's get rid of all them bits. So now we know that that's going to fold open like so. So we're going to, when we open it, it's going to be like that. So we need to make sure that that's even. So if that's a little bit out, just give it a bit of a twist to make sure that it's in the right spot. Don't worry that that looks a bit uneven there, because it's not going to be. So one underneath, one on top. Pop that out of the way for a minute, and we're going to bring in our other piece. And I'm going to use whatever I did with them. I know I brought them over here because I said to you, said to all of you, there they are. Alright, so we're going to turn this piece over, and we're going to pop our dimensionals across the top here. So it's going to be 4 or 5. You want it to be reasonably safe, so you're going to pop the most on there, I think. And you don't want to put it too far up here, because of you want your shutter to actually move. So once we've got those on there like that, we're going to pop these all off. Come on. Only a dot bit, you silly thing. Alright, so we're going to open our card up again, making sure that these are still interlocked, making sure that we have our picture up the correct way, which is that way up. We're going to pop this into the middle here like so. I'm starting at the bottom so I know that it's even, and I know that it's going to be even at the top. And then we're going to close our card. I'm going to open our card, and we can see that my words are a little bit on one side, but we can see that that's going to open and close like so. Like that. Isn't that gorgeous? So now we're just going to bring in our band and our other pieces here, because we've done our stamping on the back, and we're going to put our band around the card. Now our band is 1 inch by 9.5 inches. I'm going to bring it so that it's fairly close to the middle, but I don't want it tight, because you want to be able to move that up and down. So just check it before you pinch it down. If you're happy with that, you can just pinch it down like so. And you can pop a bit of glue onto this. Don't worry if a bit of glue is over the top, because as long as this is still loose enough to move up and down and off the card. Alright, so once we've done that, we're going to glue this piece onto the top. So if there's a little bit of glue left over on the top, that's fine. I'm going to pop that onto there like so, so that my tips here are the same and these match up on the side. I could put that on the top of there if I wanted to, but I don't think I want to. What about this piece? I could have put that on there. I might put that piece on there too. So I'm going to glue this piece onto there, so I'm going to glue this onto there as well. Now I could have glued just this piece on, but this is a bit flimsier, so I didn't want to pop that on just on its own. And then I'm going to pop this on with some dimensionals. Put my flower on top of that like so. And then what did I do with the, there they are, the embellishments. I'm going to use, if I can get it out of the packaging, these ones which are the Secret Sea. Okay, so I'm going to pop on one of these large ones. I'm going to pop that here. Then one small, medium-sized one I'll pop here. And one small one on the other side. Just there. So that's my card for today, and I hope that you've enjoyed that. I know it's one we've all done before, and I'm sure that most of us have done this card before. For my flower, I stamped that out of a piece of card that measured 3.5 by 2 3/4, and my other piece here, which was my heartfelt hexagon, came out of a piece of card that was 2 5/8 by 2 1/8, so they came out of that. So that's my card for today. It's called a Peekaboo gatefold Peekaboo card, or a shutter card. So mine is going to be called a gatefold Peekaboo / shutter card. And there we go. How gorgeous is that? I'm so happy with the way that turned out, and I hope you've enjoyed that. If you have and you'd like the written tutorial for this card, please head down below here and you'll find Di's Den for Stamping, Crafting and Tutorials. That's my Facebook group. There you can join the group if you're not a member already, and there you can download the tutorial. The tutorial will be dated exactly the same on my Facebook group, the same date and same time goes live as the YouTube video. So if you're watching this at another date, like a year down the track or even a few months down the track, and you like this, then just check the dates and they'll be exactly the same date. So if you're like that, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. I do love to hear from you all, and I will see you all again next week. Bye for now.